probably do four of these. I like it. Now.
In 1976, Marvin Gaye released I Want You, an album recorded mostly here, at Marvin's Room studio in LA. Upon release, the album was wildly popular for its layered sound, and listened to by everyone across America, including one 11-year-old boy from Compton. I recently watched The Defiant Ones, a series on HBO chronicling the lives of Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. The music was good, the stories were good, Eminem was good.
Let's cut to the fucking chase, man.
It was good, but one scene in particular amazed me, and maybe the intro of this video gave it away. It just showed how much inspiration Dr. Dre has taken from Marvin Gaye. Dre has sampled him several times throughout the years, but the influence runs far deeper than that. Let's focus on the studio. When writing about the album What's Going On, critic Stanley Crouch said of Gaye, "His is a talent for which the studio must have been invented." Crouch was referring to the production of the album in 1970, when Gaye embraced new recording technology in order to layer music. These new multi-track recorders allow lazy musicians to just duplicate the tracks, instead of recording new ones. Marvin was different though. Recording engineer Ken Sands said that he almost discovered the technique by mistake, after Gaye said he wanted to use 2 different vocal takes at the same time. This unique sound is no doubt a result of the unique studio sessions that Gaye liked to hold. Working as his own producer, through the thick clouds of weed smoke, Gaye instructed musicians to record a scratch track, or playing the song through until he heard something he liked. Which brings us back here. But let's focus on Dr. Dre for a moment. Looking back at The Defiant Ones, we see Dre's intense focus on the concept of the studio. His recording technique, called punching in, mimics the idea that artists would record something until he heard something he liked. And while Dre did benefit from digital technology, his debut solo album took form on an MPC 3000, an analog sampler used to layer tracks in much the same way that Gaye did. Anyone that knows Dre knows that he practically lives in the studio, even taking time out of his only 4-part HBO series to spend several minutes showing off the space that he's been building in his new house. If Marvin Gaye were the inventor of the studio, then Dr. Dre spent years refining his creation down to a science. Much of his album The Chronic was recorded through thick clouds of weed smoke, and rappers would frequently record several times until Dre heard the right lyric. Sound familiar? The obsession that these men have with the studio is fascinating, and resonates in their music. For his album What's Going On, Gaye made each track play into the next, creating the impression of one big song. Can you guess whose debut album used the same technique? But perhaps Gaye's most important contribution to both Dre's career and the music industry as a whole was studio ambiance. While Marvin sings about harsh topics like police brutality, poverty, or even environmental disasters, this one sample of his friends talking combined with his billowy sound draws listeners into a laid-back environment, inviting them to perhaps join Gaye in his questioning of what's going on.
This is a groovy party, man. I can dig it.
On his past albums like Straight Outta Compton, Dre's blunt approach to violence turned away many listeners. But a refinement of his craft and several years passing allowed Gaye's influence to shine through once more on Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. Snoop himself also took inspiration from Gaye, as evidenced by the many lyrical references peppered throughout his songs. But on this album produced by Dre, and discussing nearly identical themes, it seems only fitting that the duo would begin in the exact same way. Clearly then, the influence is there. Dre replicated the scientific approach that Gaye brought to the studio, allowing him to appeal to audiences across America, just like in 1976, when Marvin Gaye released I Want You, an album recorded